Hey guys, welcome to another episode of That Guy's Reviews. I know it's been a really long time, and I have to say that I'm really sorry. Another thing to apologize for is that, well, the quality of this video. As you can tell, I'm probably using a different camera. My regular camera's other battery as well is kind of dead, and I can't find the charger, so for now I'm just using one of my point and shoots. But I'm still trying to get a video out because it's been a really long time, and what a better way to start off a review other than reviewing Pokemon Black and White. And what can I say about this game other than that I really fucking love this game. Now, if you know me, I'm a die-hard Pokemon fan. I pretty much love almost everything Pokemon. Except for, like, the show, like, I don't really watch anymore, like, card games. I used to collect them as a kid. Never actually played it. Does anyone actually know how to, like, play it? Because I never figured it out. But anyway, we're reviewing Pokemon White. I bought this on premiering day, been playing it ever since, and I love it. It is great. I've got everything done. I beat the Elite Four. I've beaten, well, pretty much everything to do with it. Like, I'm just collecting stuff, playing online matches, trying to get every item, trying to catch them all. But, let's go down and look into the statistics. First off, this game is the first since Red and Blue to have it that so that you can only catch like all new Pokemon, and that's what I loved about this game, because it wasn't like I was playing like a part after Red and Blue. It's like I was playing an actual sequel to Red and Blue, because they were all new Pokemon. They were stuff that I wasn't familiar with, and it felt like a completely new experience. It was like I was starting from the very beginning, which is great. Secondly, this has all new features, such as the Dream World, which you can actually catch Pokemon which aren't in the metagame, but are instead on online, which can only be caught that way. And what makes it great is that these Pokemon have different abilities, so like Pokemon abilities that they would normally have, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. I like that. It's a really neat idea. And probably one of my favorite parts about this is random matches. No more friend codes. I don't have to worry about, like, making YouTube videos or going on forums and getting everyone's friend codes. I can just go online and play someone. Now, granted, you can still use friend codes if you want to, like, face someone in particular, but you don't need them, which is fantastic. So, let's talk about the story. In this game, well, you started off just like any other Pokemon game. You're your character, you name it whoever, and you get a Pokemon from the professor. But it's interesting because in this game you have two rivals instead of just one. Although granted, the one of the rivals, Charon, you see a little bit more than the other rival, Bianca. Although one thing I didn't really like about this game is I didn't get to name my rivals. Like, I liked in the other games when I got to name them. Although I don't think they did that in number 3, Ruby and Sapphire, although I digress, because it's always nice naming rival, although I'm pretty sure most of you who played Red and Blue probably named yours Douche or Asshole. Yeah. But that's not really the story, like, because we all know that that's what you do. You catch Pokemon, you go to gyms, you do challenges, you beat the Elite Four, but this game expands on that. Now, normally, the Pokemon games have a team. In this case, it's Team Plasma. Team Plasma is trying to rid the world of, trainers and make it so that Pokemon can, be free. So, to detach people from Pokemon, basically. And to do this, they have their leader, I forget what his English name is. Oh wait, no, I know. It's the English name of the leader is Geddes, but the real actually kind of leader, who's actually in a way kind of like a third rival, would be N. N's like the king of Team Plasma, so he's the one who really wants to separate people from Pokemon, and the way that they do it is pretty interesting. But in case you guys haven't beaten or haven't read anything, although the game's been out for a while, so I assume that most of you have read it, but for those who haven't, I'm not going to do any spoilers. So, as you progress through, you face Team Plasma, and you eventually you beat them at the end of the game. But what I found interesting was that they actually had a reason to be in that area. It wasn't like when you were facing Team Rocket in Gold and Silver, Team Aqua, or Team Magma, or Team Galactic, and the other 3 games. These guys actually had, like, a point. Like, you knew why they were there, they told you why they were there. It was kind of like in Red and Blue, like, you actually knew what was going on and why they were attacking. It just didn't happen like, hey, look, they're here. Like, you actually get an idea of where they are and, like, what they're trying to do. Now, that's basically it for the story, because the rest is just gym battles and, like, the Elite Four and catching Pokemon and making your team. Secondly, I gotta talk about graphics. First off, the outer game graphics. Now, when you're walking, which is when you're walking around, which are pretty amazing. Now, granted, they're not, like, that much different from when you're playing Diamond and Pearl, but still, like, there's a massive difference. Like, your sprite and, like, the other trainer sprites around you are pretty well done. And, like in Diamond and Pearl, the outer area is 3D, but still, like, the patches, like, the grass patches and, like, the deserts and the oceans are still, like, kind of, like, in between 2D and 3D, so it's like kind of like a 2.5D, which is interesting. Secondly, the in-game graphics. Now, what this game did was introduce a new feature. Well, it's not really a feature because it's just like that. See, now instead of what they do, like, remember in the other games that when you only saw the back sprites? Well, they introduced two things. One, the Pokemon are always moving. Well, they're not really moving, they're just kind of on an infinite loop of, like ups and downs, then ups and downs. No, but this also happens with your back sprite, and the thing is, you can actually see the full back sprite now, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is because you can actually see the whole Pokemon now instead of just like the whole, like the back of it, like the head and stuff. Also good that sprite's also moving. It's not just the wild Pokemon or the trainer's Pokemon that's moving. The bad thing is that, well, when you're battling using your Pokemon, it's, like, really pixelated, so, like, you can see that, like how it's made, like, you can see all the lines, all the single little sprite pics, and, like, little squares and rectangles. It kind of looks like it was created, it kind of looks like all these things were created in MS Paint. So, like, it kind of looks, like, kind of cheap and, like, not very well done, but I digress, because I do really like the battles. The new battle system is still great. It's just, well, it's not really great because it's basically the same thing over and over again, but, you know, it's still enjoyable. I still enjoy the battles. I can kind of look past it, but it's still kind of ugly to look at. And I hope in Generation 6, which I'm guessing they're going to make, like, fixes this problem and makes them more smooth, like, not just all pixely. Now, onto the battle system. As in the other games, nothing really has changed, but instead of changing the battle system, they added two new battle systems. These are triple battles and rotation battles. Triple battles are a lot like double battles, only instead it depends on where your Pokemon is laid. Like if it's on the right, then it can only attack the other adjacent left or the guy in the center. If you're in the center, he can attack any of the Pokemon in your opponent's team. If he's on the left, he can attack the adjacent and the center, like the one on the right. But then there's another interesting twist, the rotation battles, which is basically the same mechanics as the triple battle, only instead it allows you to rotate which Pokemon is where. So like if you got the guy on the left, you can rotate it so the guy on the left is in the center, and then the other guys will shift as well in coordinates. Which I found was pretty interesting. I haven't really played many rotation battles yet, but from what I've seen, it's pretty cool. And finally, this is probably the part that a lot of people were expecting: the new Pokemon. Now, this is the first game. This is the first game since Red to introduce an all-new Pokemon thing. Like the entire Pokédex before the National Dex is all originals. In fact, they even added more than the original Red, Blue, and Green and Yellow. They added 156 new Pokemon. Do I like all of them? No. Are some of them cool? Yeah, there were some cool ones, but ultimately, this is one of the weirdest generations in Pokemon history. And that's including Generation 4 and some of the evolutions, like Probopass. Like, Probopass looks like Mario. But this game actually goes a bit weirder. And also, another thing, actually, you know, before I mention this, like, some of them are just, like, outright weird. Like, look at the cactus. But why is it a cactus? It's just a smiling cactus. It's like kind of like a ripoff of Cacturne and Cacnea, only worse. It's kind of like if Roselia and Cacturne, like, did it. It just doesn't look right. And then there's, like, Beartic, which is, like, just, like, a giant grizzly bear with, like, icicles, drool or something. I don't know what to describe that as. And, like, the Three Musketeers, or legendaries, I guess they're kind of cool, but, like, all in all, most of these guys are kind of ugly. Like, they're, like, not that great. But although some of them are kind of ugly, although a lot of them are still cool, like, even though some of them are ugly, I have one major complaint. Now, I was really excited when I first heard about these games in the new Pokemon. Like, I thought they looked kind of cool, and the names are kind of cool. Now, granted, these are the Japanese names. I've been following the news for this ever since it was first introduced in Japan. Now, I'm talking about the Japanese names. Look at the English names. Who are they getting to, like, name these things? And come on, Pokemon America, what are you doing? Crocodile. A crook and a crocodile. What the hell? That is just one of the stupidest names ever. Like, some of these names are terrible. Trubbish, Garbodor, Garbage and Odor, and, like, Superior, Serpent and Superior, Samurott, Oshawott, Embor, Tepig, Joltik. And, like, just some of these other ones are just flat out bad. Like, these names are terrible. Sock. There's in the Japanese, Dageki, the blue, like, karate guy, kind of looks like Grover from Sesame Street. His name is Sawk, S-A-W-K, as in to, like, hit somebody, to sock someone. I'm like, are you kidding me? These names are stupid. Sock and Throw. His name is Throw. It is just a horrible, horrible name. Like, Jesus. Who did they hire to make these names? Like, most of them are just flat out terrible. It's like a 5-year-old could do it. It's just... duh! But I digress. All in all, I love Pokemon, this game. Although there are still some faults I can find with it. It's a great Pokemon game, at the same time, it's not the best Pokemon game. There are other ones that are better than it, although then there are ones that are worse than it. Like, I can honestly say that Black and White is probably better than Ruby and Sapphire. I didn't really care for Ruby and Sapphire. But, all in all, this is still a great Pokemon game. I love Pokemon. I can't wait to see what they do with it. And I'm still going to keep playing it, and maybe I'll see you guys online. My final verdict for this game is a 9 out of 10. I would definitely suggest it, and if you're a fan of Pokemon or just RPGs and turn-based RPGs in general, go buy this. This is That Guy's Review, signing out.